أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى إلا تذكرة لمن يخشى تنزيلا ممن خلق الأرض والسماوات العلى الرحمن على العرش استوى له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وما بينهما وما تحت الثرى وإن تجهر بالقول فإنه يعلم السر وأخفى الله لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى. صدق الله.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I had written my speech, but I decided not to read it, inshallah, Mr. President. Thank you. Your Excellency, Professor Khalid Tarawne, President of the University of Jordan, Your Excellencies, Dr. Batsh, Vice President, Dr. Moore, Vice President, distinguished guests, Ambassador Mr. President.
Ex-Ambassador.
Well, you're still Mr. Ambassador to us, and Ambassador Qadi, our very distinguished guests from all around the world, philosophers from Boston College, from Oslo University, from Oxford, from AUB, from Dublin University, from our very good partners and friends at the Denmark, University of Southern Denmark, dear colleagues, dear students. It is a wonderful day indeed, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to our new premises at the University of Jordan under our new name, Prince Al-Hussein bin Abdullah Al-Thani for International Studies. Well, the Arab Spring, it sounded like a joke or a puzzle. And still, we didn't know how to deal with it. People are very optimistic, others are totally the opposite, and many don't know what is happening, why it happened, what's going to happen. In our business, we've been trying to deal with a very simple question. Correct me if I'm wrong, lady. Why people do what they do? I mean, this is very simple. Still, I can't find an answer. We've been trying. Prophets did try. People do things for many reasons. We can think of the big 3 C's. Well, they might be crazy. They might be crusaders. That might be conscious of what they are doing. But why people do exactly what they do, the time they do it, and the way they do it, is something that we really need to deal with. So this is part of our conference today. The other thing is we're trying to deal with 2 important concepts, understanding and explanation. How do we understand the development of the Arab revolutions? If we can understand them, can we really explain them? So build on that. So understanding and explanation being the major issues in our also business and political science and social sciences, we still struggle to understand. And believe me, it seems that many people don't really understand what is happening in politics. Now we come to the other issue, political parties. So we want to talk about political parties. This must be killing, especially political parties in the Arab world. What it means. Now, in my paper later on, I will be talking about my thinking of what political parties and about the imposition of certain Western concepts on different part of cultures and worlds, including the state, civil society, and political parties. But for now, I'm just trying to think of whether people act out of mechanical reactions. So structures do decide people's actions, or they're based on their rational choice. So there is a choice. Or something in between, of course, someone can argue. Institutional can play a linkage role in here. But this is also to be think of. Micro level of analysis, how they are relevant and important to what we are doing. This is another thing that we really need to talk about. But here, one more time, when Peter and I were discussing the idea and the title of this conference, just occurred to me that we really want to talk about people. After all, politics carried out by people. So people make decisions, individual or collective. And we need to bring people back into politics by highlighting the way they think, the way they decide, and the way making decisions and actions. That's precisely what we're trying to do in this conference. So bringing people back in is also informed by Machiavelli's notion. The desire of those who don't want to be ruled or governed anymore by the rulers. That's a revolution. So I think this is the framework that we will be talking about over these 2 days, over these panels that Peter will be discussing more in details with me give his remarks on this opening session. I thank you very much again for every one of you for being here, and welcome to the University of Jordan. Now I'll play the role of MC and allow me to invite His Excellency, my dear friend Peter Seberg from University of Southern Denmark to give his remarks. Please, David.
Thanks indeed. It's great to be back in this fine university. I've been looking forward to it. I apologize for my voice. I guess I left the last part of it in the plane, running down here. Congratulations on these elegant, very nice looking facilities here. It's going to be good for you to have more space in this.
We expand.
You are, I know. Let me say a few words. President Eglif Taravne, distinguished colleagues, distinguished guests, dear students from Jordan and from Denmark, welcome to a joint conference bringing people back in politics, the role of civil society organizations and political parties in a post-Arab Spring context, as they just elaborate a little upon. The conference will analyze popular mobilization and the role of movements, organizations and parties in relation to what has taken place in the Middle East over the last three and a half years. Very exciting, maybe sometimes even a bit scary development. Welcome to scholars from the Middle East, from Europe, from the US, to all our students taking part in the program that we work on together with the faculty here. First of all, thanks to President Eglif Taravne, the University of Jordan, for hosting the conference. It's, I guess, the 5th time we have a joint conference here. It's always great to be here. We feel really very, very welcome here, enjoying the Slovenian hospitality, for sure. Thanks also to the Prince Al Hussein bin Abdullah, the second School of International Studies, for good cooperation. Every time I'm here, it seems that the name of the institution is getting longer. Yeah. Thank you very much, Zayde Edat, for very, very good cooperation in planning this conference. Our research cooperation is also taking shape. And of course, this is also an important part of the whole program. The idea behind the cooperation goes back to 2009 when we established the so-called JUCO project. JUCO meaning Danish-Slovenian University Cooperation, funded by the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Danish University of Southern Denmark and University of Jordan as well. The main idea of the project is to bring together scholars, students, Denmark and Jordan, from Europe and the Middle East, in order to promote dialogue between us, promote or have mutual inspiration, open, critical discussions, common publications, exchange of views, and, by the way, also exchange of students. I would like to thank very much the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs for their continued support for the JUCO project and for funding a part of this conference. As mentioned, it is the ambition of the conference to discuss development in the Middle East over the last 3.5 years with a focus on popular mobilization in connection with following the so-called Arab Spring, or the Arab revolts, or Arab uprisings, whatever we should label these dramatic events in the Middle East since late 2010, starting, as you all know, in Tunisia. The Middle East is certainly changing in many ways, and despite what we might call regressive tendencies, setbacks, in some states, even, unfortunately, very tragic developments in Syria, maybe also to some degree in Libya, Egypt. I think it's still relevant to speak of a re-politicized, more dynamic and participatory population in several of the Arab states. And taking this significant reality as point of departure, this conference will analyze popular mobilization, the role of movements, organizations, parties, in relation to these recent developments in the Middle East, and also, being an academic conference, discuss theoretical approaches, paradigms of relevance for the analysis of these new regional dynamics. I'm certainly looking forward to good presentations, discussions over the next 1.5 days, and it is my pleasure to thank you all for coming. And with these words, it is my pleasure to invite President Eklif Taravni to say a few words in opening the conference.
Just a few housekeeping things before we invite the President. Usually other places struggle to find people to fit in the auditorium and rooms for speakers and panelists. We're having a problem accommodating people. Can you please, Nasser, open the door, if you don't mind, and let people just hear what their President is going to say, and also hear to the presentations all day long. I thank everyone being here. Now, thank you, Peter, very much for your remarks and for your theoretical framework with the panels and the presentations. Everything you see here has a reason, of course, but there is a very important fact that everyone in Jordan and University of Jordan knows, that without the ultimate support of our very distinguished president, Professor Abdel, this facility, this school would never have been the same way it is now. So allow me please, just on behalf of School of International Studies, faculty, staff, and students and friends, to thank him so very much for all the help he supported us with, and for the continuous support and belief in what we are doing. He once called us the think tank of Jordan and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Well, I'm aspired to be Minister of Foreign Affairs, if this is the Minister of Foreign Affairs then. So just allow me to invite His Excellency to give his opening remarks, please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد خاتم الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear students, it is with a great pleasure that I welcome you today to the University of Jordan on the occasion of the opening of the International Conference Bringing People Back in Politics through all civil society organizations and political parties in a post-Arab Spring context, which is organized by Prince Al-Hussein bin Abdullah II School of International Studies of the University of Jordan and the Center for Contemporary Middle East Studies of the University of Southern Denmark. The University of Jordan is the country's oldest, largest, most comprehensive and leading university since its founding in 1962. It has attained national and international prominence and has provided successive generations with solid education that was integral to their successes as civil servants, businessmen, politicians, scientists, and entrepreneurs. As our world changes and develops in radically new ways, each nation must adapt, and under the leadership of His Majesty King Abdullah II, Jordan has successfully networked with our Arab neighbors and much of the international community. And investment, security, and steadiness persisted in Jordan in spite of many years of tribulation in the region. Always an epicenter of knowledge and intellectualism in the kingdom, the university aims to continue to support the country's leadership endeavors to bring about prosperity and well-being for present and future generations. The university also aims to be a global institution embedded in the heart of the Middle East that contribute to the betterment of mankind at large by producing and spreading theoretical and applied knowledge, and by improving the quality of life at the local, regional, and global levels. Networking is also high on the university's agenda through international networks. The university is transforming its students, faculty, and staff into global citizens, capable of engaging people and cultures from all over the world. We are particularly proud of Prince Al-Hussein bin Abdullah II School of International Studies that network the university extensively in the global arena. And today's conference is yet another manifestation of our commitment to internationalization, outreach efforts, and cross-cultural exchanges. Before long, the school's research and publications will influence the development of policies in the kingdom and around the globe. The school will inform and advise governments and world leaders, decision makers, and think tanks on relevant issues. Through all of that, the school will stand true to the aims and aspirations of His Majesty King Abdullah II and the legacy of the University of Jordan. Distinguished audience and students, the University of Southern Denmark and the University of Jordan have brought together notable scholars from around the world to speak on the recent developments in the Arab world that come to be known as the Arab Spring. Throughout this scholarly collaboration, this conference offers a forum for analyzing the regional transitions and movements from various perspectives. The conference indeed comes at politically, socially, and economically crucial moments. I should add that the University of Jordan has indeed taken the lead in partnership with the Minister of Political Development in bringing the Jordanian political parties together with the academic community through a series of meetings on the university's campus. This is a process that we will maintain in order to continuously encourage students and staff to engage in shaping the political future in Jordan. The conference is indeed in line with the university's objectives of promoting democracy and civic engagement. Before closing, I should mention that this conference ends on a hopeful note with second annual Young Scholars Conference, as the Arab Spring failed 3 years later, where selected master students will have the opportunity to present their research papers on relevant topics. The conference seeks to encourage the next generation of international scholars to begin discussing and analyzing important global issues, and we look forward to insightful debates. Once more, I welcome you all and wish you a very productive conference and an enjoyable stay in Jordan. May God bless you. Thank you.
Now, we're going to just introduce the first slight change to the schedule, just to accommodate the developments. So I would love to ask you please to stay here, most of you, but the participants and the distinguished guest students, stay here please. Participants, we need to go out for 10 minutes for a coffee break and meeting the president with the participants, because probably time would be tight later on, so we won't have a chance to meet. So please come outside for a very short coffee break for 10 minutes.